Welcome back once again to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. Who the hell are you? You're not buffering.
Boy,
just fucking with you.
Earlier every week.
Well, it's the interwebs. You know what I mean?
Next time we should try it during the intro.
Yeah.
During the opening
credits.
titles, yeah.
That's Sam Levine, everybody. In case you're wondering who I'm talking to, that's Fast Sam Levine. And if you know him, he owes you money.
Damn straight.
What? Welcome back. We've had a wonderful week off. Who was here last week? Was that John Landis? Nope. Phil Hendry. Right.
Landis was the week before.
Who apparently Rotman is all up in it now. Them and the new tech and what have you, TriCaster people, they're making Phil Hendry's life a little easier and better, and I think that's exciting.
Nice.
You see that? We help people's lives here.
We do.
At the Chat Show.
We really do. And how much money, let's check the tote board, how much money have we raised? Jerry Lewis will not be the telephone this year. What the hell?
You know?
Honest to God. I have to call Jerry up at Mount Rushmore and find out what the deal is.
Would you please get back to us?
Well, because what happened was, and then it'll be 14 more minutes of that, and I'll laugh until I cry. Sammy, what the hell have you done with your week?
Oh boy,
Right?
had.
You know what I'm saying?
It was phenomenal.
You went fishing with the family, I understand.
I did. I went fishing with my family. We caught some trout.
Right.
And some boots.
That's
Bless
the
you.
name, the name of somebody's book. Jamie sneezes whenever there's bullshit in the air. She's
I
allergic.
don't know what's going on. Ever since I walked in the studio today, so something got up in there.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm stuffy today.
It might be the feather.
The one and only time
Hey.
I ever even held a fishing rod.
Yes.
Was in let's see, Provincetown. With the family when I was a wee boy. We went on something where you catch, horrible fish, and a giant ray caught my line. This thing weighed more than I did. And then
Where were you?
and then the first mate
picking
had
up
to come
stingrays?
and like pull it up and untangle it and set it free.
What a wonderful
terrible.
experience
It's
for you.
terrible.
How old? This was pre-sickly years.
Yes, this was in the heart of the sickly years. I was 7 or 8, I don't know. Something like that.
That's you and Jamie have that in common now. Yeah. I'm finishing up the Shea Upshaw movie that I've been telling you about that Ileana Douglas and I have been ripping up. And who shows up? Donnie Most. Ralph Malph, Happy Days. Hello.
Oh!
Jesus. Stay with me.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. He came on and helped out and was super fantastic guy.
Isn't he suing CBS?
Let's say yes.
I think
'Cause
he
it's
is,
a better
with a couple
story.
other people.
Because of the Happy Days?
Yeah, because they're making these arcade games and pinball machines and casino games, and these kids aren't
And
seeing
much
it done.
like you, he wants to know what's his piece.
Pretty much. Well, no, they paid out Howard and the other gang.
Did they?
And they didn't pay these cats.
Not good.
Not good, right?
No, no, no.
Yeah.
I will put Michael McKean on the case as well.
Thank you.
Jamie,
Yes.
can we talk a little bit about the coconut cake?
I will not stop talking about
Otherwise
this.
known as the Reitman cake?
We went to this party last night at Jason Reitman's house. Let me get that.
Did you drop that name?
Yeah.
There it is, honey. It's down
But
there.
no, this cake. It was I won't stop talking about it. It was just like this vanilla cake with cream cheese, coconut frosting, and it was
was the
one of the
size-
best cakes, if not the best cake I think I've ever put in my mouth.
First of all, it's the size of a coffee table. Let's start there.
Yeah, it was a sheet cake. He walks in with a sheet cake like this big.
Second of all, covered in coconut. And, right
Which
away...
is a bold move because most people I know don't like coconut.
Not
I
only-
love
Don't
coconut.
say most people. Let's be more
All
specific.
right, most Jewish males I know don't
you
like
go.
coconut.
There you go.
Which is true.
True. Truth.
I can name you.
Dr. Chen, how are you on the coconut cake?
As a Jew, don't like it.
We made him an honorary.
Non-Jew.
We made him an
Non-Jew
honorary
weighing
a couple
in.
months ago.
Yeah, talk to me.
Because he
over here.
picked up a couple of pennies. And he's a member of the club
Wow,
now.
what's
Yeah.
happening here today?
I'm allowed to make that joke.
All right.
I'm allowed. It's part of my birthright.
But it was covered in coconut, and I thought bold move also.
Yeah.
A cake that
Good
big
for him if he got what he
for
wanted.
75 people. Hope everyone likes coconut. Then brought up this gorgeous chocolate cake next to it, and I went over and said, "Yeah, I don't like the coconut. Then what's the deal with chocolate cake?" He said,
I know.
"I'm not allowed to cut that." What the fuck are you bringing it out for?
Yeah.
Torture.
You got no chocolate
We left
cake.
shortly thereafter.
You had to wait till we went to the thing after and you ate a hostess cupcake.
Why you gotta bust that out?
Sorry.
I want to thank our fine friend Joe because we had Joe's Bleecker or Joe's Pizza, I should say, from here in town. We ordered some of that up. I'm going to ask Ray if he's ever had the Joe's Pizza because it is crazy. If you like the thin crust New York pie, it is the real deal. So I want to know more about who likes it, who doesn't. But thanks, Joe. It was phenomenal. Gurin's hats, Gurin's brothers, yeah.
The brothers Gurin.
Still making the great hats. And I got an email today from one of their fine peeps saying, have a great show today, and do you want to have Hal Holbrook on the show?
No.
Someone can deliver me Hal
The
Holbrook?
Gurins?
The Gurin brothers. Yeah.
They have a Hal Holbrook connection.
They do. You didn't read that in the bio?
I am a newfound respect for the Gurins.
I know.
Hal Holbrook is in one of my favorite movies of all time, Creep Show.
I thought she was going to go Wall Street, but no, she went right to Creep
She
Show.
went Creep Show.
I love Creep Show. You know this.
Is that
yeah,
the one
Hal
with
Holbrook. It is him.
with everyone's favorite
Leslie Nielsen
Leslie
is in it,
Nielsen.
and Ted Danson.
Ted Danson buried up to his head in sand?
Yeah,
You can't beat
so
that.
good. I love that movie.
In case you're wondering just what the hell we're doing 6 minutes and 47 seconds into the show, write us at kevinpollak'schatshow.com under the guise Ask Kevin, and we'll explain it to you. Every week we try to answer some of your missives. This week the first one comes to us from Dastardly Dino of the UK, all the way over in the United Kingdom. Hiya. See, already I don't believe he's from the UK. I've been there many times. I've never once heard a Brit say hiya.
They say aloe with no H.
Hello.
I'm
Being that
assuming-
I've lived in the UK, could you change the start time of your show to 2 p.m. your time, as currently 3 p.m. your time is 11 p.m. my time, and in sleepy UK with all the damp and the rain and the fog, we're usually tucked in for bed by then. An hour earlier though, 10 p.m., we are still sipping our cocoa and winding up alarm clocks. Many thanks if you could consider this for your wider audience. Cheers. First of all, that's the worst British accent I've ever heard, so I don't believe again that you're British. Second of all, thanks for the letter and go fuck yourself, I think is what everyone's hoping.
absolutely.
I would
Hey,
say.
my fan base in Ireland, all two of them.
Yeah.
They watch.
Yeah, they watch. They stay up.
Yeah, they stay
Yeah.
up.
They're watching in their knickers. Yeah. Are those shorts or pajamas? I always mix that one up.
How about this one? What was that fella's name? It doesn't matter. Once you go get yourself a job, it starts an hour later. How about that? You complaining
These are
Brit?
These are solutions.
Come on.
That's beautiful.
Just quit your job altogether, and then you
if
can
you
watch
want-
live internet all day and
If
night.
you want genuine love and sincerity from myself and my crew, write to us at contact@kevinpollak'schatshow.com for future Ask Kevins. Do we have a graphic? We used to have a graphic for
We
Ask
did.
Kevin.
I was going to
blew
ask,
past
but
it.
I assumed.
If only it looked something like this.
Ask Kevin.
Nicely cued. Love me the Jeremy Scott animation. And multiple Emilys. Our very own Emily Goodwin turns
26.
26 tomorrow,
Doesn't
and we're
look.
very excited for her. She doesn't look a day
Doesn't
over
look a day over 26. Wait, no, that's not how you say that. I meant something else.
24. She doesn't look a day over 30.
How dare you?
I did get a tweet sent to me with a picture of the person and Larry King. And then someone stopped us at the party last night and said, I saw Larry King and it was all I could do not to go up to him and do a Larry King game from your show.
I was flattered.
Yeah. Jamie was recognized a couple times last night from this very show. Yeah.
Twice.
2 people out of
I
75.
was
Those are pretty good numbers.
I'm going to consider myself one of the celebrities at the party.
You
How's that?
should.
You guys
Why
keep
not?
talking about this party. I'm going to have to ask, what was this party?
You're international. You're international, Jamie. Don't ever forget that.
All right.
Let it be a mystery.
This was, well, yeah, I mean, we've already dropped names, but
Was it a birthday party?
I don't want to suggest that
Was it a celebration of
if
some
you,
kind?
like Sam, watching, wondering why you weren't invited to this party, apparently you're not one of the hip kids.
No, I know I'm
Clearly.
not.
Jamie was telling Elaine today, Kevin was 12 years older than anyone else at the party.
Sure, wherever.
I don't know how you narrowed it down to 12, though. That was the impressive part. All right. Here comes a Larry King game. But first, a little preamble from the fan. Dear Kevin and crew, that's you guys, completely addicted to the show. Just wanted to get that out of the way, but I have a story for you. My sweetheart David and I spent the day cracking each other up. We riff on shit forever because neither of us can bear to walk away from a good scenario. Anybody? Not sure what that means. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, I texted him what I thought was a perfect piece of advice. Pour tuna water on the dry dog food and the dog goes nuts. And he in turn replied, that sounds like some of the lame advice Larry King would give that no one really wants. Can I please put you in suspenders and glasses and have you do it on YouTube? Please. So I said, no, I can't do Kevin Pollak's bit. And he had no clue what I was talking about. He'd never watched the show, and he happened, by convergence, to create the Larry King game himself. I explained your game to him, and he laughed, and we proceeded for days to text Larry King games back and forth to each other. He asked me to try to transcribe them, and I've decided to send them along to you because I thought you may appreciate this kind of madness. A-H-E-M ... These are the couple's Larry King games back and forth in text.
Strengthening marriages.
You have to admit, this is the most bizarrely flattering thing. Know what helps with my rheumatism? Mushroom soup bath, 250 cans, twice a day. Boise, hello. And then the other one replies, best way to arrange pancakes? Stack. Denver, you're on the air. Followed by, save your hair. Missoula, hello.
I love these because it proves that they don't have to be filthy.
Exactly.
Or
they're
10
really funny.
pages
Yeah.
long.
Or
And
10
they're still
pages
really
long.
funny.
Save your hair, Missoula. Stepped in gum. Hey, pour a drink, put your feet up, and let a cat gnaw it off. And we have Sioux Falls on the line. Next up. The folds in my scrotum happen to spell out everything inscribed on the Rosetta Stone. Jacksonville, go.
So funny.
That's
Rosetta
pretty
Stone
good.
reference was
Creatively
pretty good. That was a good
filthy.
pull.
They're raising the bar
That's a
here.
good pull.
Here's my favorite, my personal favorite. Have you ever really looked at a frog? Really? Saratoga talk.
These are good.
Roll back a little.
And I'm not
Kenny.
easily amused.
I realize that time is an illusion, and we have all dreams of ourselves. Buffalo. I can't say that.
Jesus.
That's horrible. Mouse skull as a watch fob. Nothing weird there. Butte, come at me. You know how pissing yourself warm keeps you warm in a blizzard? Well, the living room gets cold sometimes too. Reno, stand up. I love the sign off. You
could do this
Mold
all
in the
day.
bathroom, chicken blood, cuts right through. Kansas City, touch me there. My spirit animal, Huckleberry Hound. Abilene kicked me in the jimmy. Kick me in the jimmy, biggest dream. Come up with a color no human brain can process. Baton Rouge, how old are you? There's only 47 more, by the way. Strawberry Fanta and Diet Iced Tea. I call it King Punch. Phoenix, shoot me a load. I will sword fight Ed Begley Jr. to the death. Carbondale, where is Bucky and what has he had?
But if it's Ed Begley Jr., all the swords have to be made out of like recycled plastic
Recycled
milk
plastic.
jugs.
So that's all I could fit on one page, she follows. We continue to have fun with the Larry King game, and I've convinced him to start watching your show. Please keep me being brilliant and having amazing guests, your fans, Amanda and Dave. Well, that is awfully impressive.
A hand for Amanda and Dave.
Amanda and Dave, please write us again with both of your T-shirt sizes, and damn it, we'll send you a Kevin Pollak's Chat Show T-shirt, which you've now earned by making us laugh ridiculously with your insanity. I believe I've, yeah. I am, by way of introduction of my guest today, I will start by simply saying, as a young lad, growing up in Ireland, growing up in the Bay Area, I was mesmerized by Muhammad Ali and everything he did. And that's what got me into boxing. And I became sort of acutely aware of, and I'm 8, 9, 10 years old, of heavyweights and this incredible sport. And while all my friends are collecting baseball cards, I'm starting to get more and more into it and registering names of guys who were on lower cards when there's a a three different card fight night, and back then all three networks were before HBO were showing fights, and it was extraordinary. And then in the I guess I was still a teenager, the '76 Olympics, and you had the Spinks brothers. You had a bunch of American fighters who were kicking some serious ass. One of which had something that my fascination with prize fighting had not experienced yet, which was the fastest hands on the planet. That I think at first I wasn't the only one sort of talking about, I'm sorry, what is happening here with these hands? How is that possible? It was like a cartoon. It was ridiculous. And sure enough, he won the gold. Actually, there's one fighter he beat in the semifinals, this Polish son of a bitch, who had in fact beaten him on one of his two rare losses in his amateur career. One was this Polish cat who beat in the semifinals. Anyways, my brother and I became obsessed with the Olympics that year in boxing specifically, and then it was sort of announced that he was done. And through the course of the next many years, he did something else that a couple things no prize fighter had ever done. Other than re-electrifying the sport for young fans. It was all the focus was on the heavyweights and all of the in those days. And so for a non-heavyweight to capture, first of all, America's attention because of the Olympics, but then just boxing fans in general afterwards, like the first non-heavyweight to have $1 million prize, all these things started adding up and sort of changing the course of the business, as it were. Then, absurdly, as you followed his career, he actually, in going through the research preparing for today, just dumbfounded, one page after another. But the one thing that really grabbed me, wouldn't let go, was attaining the championship title in 5 different weight classes. Not only has that never been done since or after, but it doesn't even make sense. And it's one of the things that, damn it, I want to get to the bottom of. Because I remember as a fan being, well, you can't gain weight and win. That the whole point is to be, I mean, who hasn't said, well, I'm not at my fighting weight? Skinny, young, old, fat. Everyone has been talking about their fighting weight ever since they got out of high school. So the idea that one could change one's fighting weight and topple champions and giants in other weight classes was unheard of and unparalleled. And to have 5 of those titles is ridiculous. And he has also a new book that I'm excited to talk about as well, so we'll get to that as well. But first, just hello and welcome to the table, Sugar Ray Leonard. Thank you so much for being here. And I do mean that. There was a sense of a new world opening up for fans of boxing and who were riveted by the great heavyweights. I mean, certainly your other namesake, the other Sugar Ray, was probably the only one that I was aware of that was, well, maybe. I'm trying to think if there was one other.
No, Sugar Ray Robinson.
Yeah. Who had captivated that was not that giant bruisers that dominated the sport.
Well, he was looked upon as more than just a fighter. He kind of transcended the sport.
Yeah.
Kind of brought in the entertainment aspect. He was looked upon as more of something special than just a fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
He was different. He
Bigger
was,
than the sport.
Yeah, his hair, the way he dressed, the cars that he drove, were just.
Yeah.
So he was like, pow.
Yeah, and and to this day considered by many to be pound for pound, move for move. You know, still regarded as the greatest that ever was by.
Without question.
Yes.
When they use the term pound for pound,
right?
Sometimes they use that too freely. Even addressing me,
Right.
pound for pound. Sugar Ray Robinson, pound for pound, was the man.
Yeah. And by the way, when you adopted that name, or how did that name for you get adopted? Because I'm sure at first there was some flack, like there could only be one Sugar Ray.
They didn't really address that until I really became
Right.
of prominence. When I first put Sugar Ray on my back, because I watched old films of Sugar Ray Robinson, and I said, that's the guy I want to emulate. That's the kind of guy, or that's the kind of fighter I want to become.
Right.
So I watched the tapes and everything, and during the '72 Olympics, the trials, I put Sugar Ray on my back. It was a cape, a blue cape, pretty cheesy looking,
Yeah.
but it was all I could afford.
It was a cape.
Yeah, it was a cape. It was, and I'm in line. This is at the like Golden Gloves, one of the major tournaments
Right.
that precedes the Olympic trials. And they said, well, Sugar Ray, please come to the glove stand. And Kevin, I walked up, proud as ever. And all of a sudden, I see this big guy with Sugar Ray on his back, with Sugar Ray sealed from the '72 Olympics. He won a gold medal. He was the
Yes.
only gold medal winner.
Yes.
But when I saw this guy, this big guy with Sugar Ray on his back, it just startled me. It just like put me back in my seat.
You thought, I can't be Sugar Ray also.
Yeah. So I went back to my seat.
And ripped some letters off the back of your cape?
I tried. I was 16 years old. I was inexperienced. And a coach, Sergeant Tom Johnson, told me, because I cried when I lost that fight.
Yeah.
He said, Sugar Man, he said, wait until '76. You'll have more experience. You'll be ready for these guys, but not now. He
You
was
tried
right.
out for the Olympics at 16.
Yes.
Whose crazy idea was that?
Well, because I was beating pretty much everyone in town or city or region.
You had Golden Globes already?
Golden Gloves was huge.
Yeah.
We had Golden Gloves, AAU. Oh, yeah. So I won all those titles.
The first Golden Globes, 73?
73.
Right.
The National Golden Gloves.
And you were a kid. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You were 17, 16, 17.
16.
Yeah.
Depends on what month.
Let's talk about this prick in Poland, though. This son of a bitch in Poland, who, what I found interesting was first there was the fight in Moscow where the guy who was given the trophy gave it to you. This is one of the two amateur losses, right?
Yes.
So the guy wins the fight and then gives you the trophy because he also felt you had won?
Well, I beat the crap out of him. I think that's deserving.
In his hometown.
Oh, in his hometown. In his country, yes.
And they weren't about to give you the trophy.
No. And I punched him, knocked him down.
Right.
And they presented him with the award.
His pride
Yes.
would not allow
It was a
him.
cool thing, though. It was
Yeah.
a pretty
Bold.
bold thing.
But his pride, I love that his pride was too great and he couldn't possibly take it.
Yes.
Which I imagine at the time was pretty meaningful for you. As upset as you were that they gave him the trophy, the fact that he would hand it over as a gesture.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, 16, I was a young, cocky kid. I was sad because I was away from home.
Right.
Kid from Maryland, Palmer Park, Maryland. Now I'm in Russia. Now I'm in Poland.
Yeah, whose crazy idea was that?
Well,
Ray, you're ready to fight in Russia.
because they saw that I had the
Yeah, sure.
hand speed, experience, and the right style to beat the Poland.
Right.
The Polish guys.
And the Polish guy you put on the canvas a couple of times too.
Yeah. But he cooperated. He held his chin up. It was not my fault.
Someone kept telling him,
Not totally my fault.
and Anatoly Kamnev, who you then took part in the semifinals of the Olympics. So then when you go back to the Olympic tryouts the second time around for '76, and whoever gave you that advice that you'll be ready now, boy, were you. I mean, it's absurd, the difference from boy to man.
I sacrificed so much. I gave up so much because
Everything.
I wanted that gold medal. I wanted to be the best. I wanted the ultimate, which was the Olympics.
Yeah.
And I trained hard. people thought I was crazy. My parents thought I was crazy. My siblings thought I was crazy. My friends thought I was crazy. The kids on the school bus, because I would run to school instead of taking the bus to school, 3-4 miles, they thought I was crazy.
Well, you were. Let's stop for a moment and acknowledge the facts. For a kid that age, in terms of what was happening among your peers at school, you were the crazy one. But at the same time, you were the only one with that kind of a goal.
Back
No?
up, Kevin, that's not true.
Come on.
I wasn't crazy. I was determined.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was determined.
Single-minded.
I like that better. I had total tunnel vision. I wanted what I wanted, and I worked hard for it.
Right.
And I sacrificed
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you were traveling around, fighting in other countries, was the goal always in mind? This is all preparation for the Olympics. That's what this is. When you were in Russia and you're in Poland, and
Yeah, those were preparation, but I mean, I took on the task at hand.
right.
Fighting the Russians, fighting the Cubans, it was all about preparation, because once you're in the Olympics, you're fighting the best in the world from each country.
Yeah.
And that competition is high.
And to you, that seemed like the pinnacle.
It was.
Yeah.
It was the pinnacle.
It's interesting because in reading the research, it was clear that after the Olympics, when you announced basically, well, I did it, I'm done now, what else do I want to do with my life? Did that seem strange to everyone around you as it does in reading about it after the fact, in the sense of you've risen to the absolute apex in your world, in what you've devoted your life to and sacrificed for, and at 19, 20?
I was 20. I was 20 years
And at
old.
20,
yeah.
you're done?
Yeah, that was it. It was kind of...
It wasn't like pole vaulting, where there's not really a career to be had.
It was a melancholy. It was...
Yeah, I imagine there's something absolutely...
It was so weird.
Now what?
It was so weird. And although I'd stand on that podium getting the gold medal, I'm saying, shit, this is it. You know, this is the ultimate. And I was extremely happy, without question.
Oh, yeah.
Without question. But I was extremely sad because
It was over.
that was it. That was it, because I didn't want to turn professional, because I've seen and I've witnessed other fighters and champions who were considered great, legendary fighters who end up with nothing.
Almost
Derelicts.
all of them.
Yes.
Almost all of them, especially back then.
I didn't want to be one of those guys. I didn't want to be subjected to that letdown.
Right.
And I told myself, I'm going to college. I want to go further my education, get a great job, and then move on.
Which is admirable and remarkable, let's face it.
Yeah. But
Your folks got sick and you had no choice.
reality set in. I got home. My dad went to a coma. Basically almost died.
Mom had a heart attack.
Mom, she always had heart problems.
Right.
We had no money. And a friend of mine and a mentor of mine, Jenks Morton, said, you know, Ray, you should turn pro and you can make some fast money. I said, I don't want to turn pro. Plus, I had bad hands. My hands would hurt all the time from punching. And I just didn't want to be in that world. And the longer I waited, every week, my dad got sicker and worse. My mother was getting sick because she was stressed out because we didn't have money.
At that point, out of 7 kids, you were kind of the only one that could have made a difference instantly.
Yes, instantly. Instantly. I was the only one that could make a huge difference.
Crazy pressure. by the
Didn't,
way.
but you know, I wasn't thinking about that.
But they're your parents.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of my way. What do I have to do?
Yeah, with the gloves, with the contract, whatever.
Right.
But I had people who were decent people who had morals. I had a Mike Trainer who was my attorney.
Oh my God. This guy ends up being the greatest thing, business-wise, that I've ever read about in the history of sports. I mean, literally came at a time in your life, he's an attorney, doesn't really know much about,
At all.
if anything.
He knows business, but nothing. He doesn't know boxing.
Nothing. And he's about to step into the world of negotiating and kind of reinvents it and becomes a bit of a superstar. In fact, when he held out for the money against Benitez, that kind of money was, I remember reading when he went to, was it ABC, I think?
ABC,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it was like, what?
I know, it was
$2 million and change for what? Anyways.
it was unprecedented.
You did have these guys in your life at such an important time.
Right.
And boy, you talk about not wanting to be the washed-up boxer who ends up with nothing. These guys coming into your life kind of formed this wonderful flying wedge around you to move forward into this crazy new world. It felt like.
I was lucky. I was very blessed to have
Well, lucky,
found
but
it.
also you had the talent that was recognized in others.
But the other guys had talent too, Kevin. I mean, the fact that I happened to stumble across or have in my surrounding
Right.
people who were
Right.
decent people, hardworking, moral, just honest people.
Thank goodness it had nothing to do with the fight game.
That's another story. That's another chapter.
Yeah. Well, I found that part of it to be pretty remarkable about Mike Traynor, this attorney, who Morton brought to you, Jenks?
Yes, Jenks Morton. Because Jenks played softball.
Right.
And
He says, I know this attorney, maybe he can help. He's
Yeah.
a decent guy. And I've also found it kind of interesting that Trainor's first reaction was, well, yeah, I don't know anything about this world. What am I? Sure, I'll do what I can for you. And then literally, kind of self-taught.
yes, self-taught. Yes, on the job training.
Earn while you learn.
Earn while you learn. Yes, on the job training.
Yeah. And then immediately, as you start the pro career, like it seemed like your first fight was televised. I guess for all the attention from the
The
Olympics.
first fight was televised, CBS.
CBS. And that was kind of a great deal.
In Baltimore, yes. That was huge. It was, I fought 6 rounds with Louis the Bull Vega. I think he was about tall.
Louis the Bull.
They made sure I won the fight. He was like that tall. But he was tough. He was tough. And I just kept going. I just kept winning. My dad regained his health. And I said, this is not a bad job. So I kept going.
Right. At that point, had you brought in Angelo?
Angelo
to
was
help
there.
pick the fights?
Angelo was there prior to that fight, yes.
Okay.
Brought Angelo in because the advice I got from Muhammad Ali.
Oh, I love this.
Oh,
I love this advice.
he said, you know what? If you ever decide to turn pro, get Angelo Dundee. He has the right complexion with the right connections.
Such the poet.
Oh, yeah.
But he also told you, make sure you own everything. Don't make the mistake that I made. I thought that was
he told me
as prophetic as it gets.
He said, make sure you control everything.
Right. Don't make the mistake I made.
Yep.
Because I wasn't aware as to how much of the farm he had given away.
Well, you trust. Trust is a very simple word, yet it's powerful. And if you trust people, they got to trust themselves.
Right. Yeah. And that sort of advice, because at this point, it is a matter of making money for your family, and also you're starting to enjoy it. I imagined as a profession, whether in the back of your mind you're thinking, I'm still just going to do this for a period of time, but in the meantime, damn if it isn't enjoyable and
It is. It becomes.
and putting instant money for the family, and that's powerful stuff.
Yeah, all of a sudden I come from nothing,
Yeah.
having nothing, and now I'm reborn, if you will.
Sure.
I'm rejuvenized. I'm happy again. My parents are happy. My parents are healthier. Now I can help my siblings. Now I can help my friends. My life changed.
Your dad, was it diabetes that he was suffering from that caused the health
Spinal
problems?
meningitis and tuberculosis. But he became diabetic
Right.
down the road.
Because I know you're involved.
Yes,
Quite
JDR.
heavily.
Yes, I am.
I loved in '09 when you appeared in front of the Senate.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, I testified in Congress, and it was an amazing thing. I felt of service.
Yeah.
To me, especially now where I'm in my life, it's all about giving back. It's all about being of service.
Yeah.
I've been, again, Kevin, I've been very blessed, and I try to instill that into my kids, to let them know that they live a very privileged life.
Yeah.
So it's best to give back. Always give back.
Where the hell did you get that from? Because that's pretty prophetic.
My parents, my mother and father, you
Right.
know, they've had their little battles, but you know what? They loved us, they supported us, they took care of us, and I wouldn't be who I am today
Sure.
if it wasn't my parents.
Right.
You
So appearing in front of Congress, testifying, as it were,
Yeah.
it was pretty.
Murray Tyler Moore, Nick Jonas, I mean, it's, you know, that disease, diabetes, is such a incredible and, you know, what it does to these kids, these innocent, beautiful babies.
Yeah.
But they're the fighters. They're the real fighters because they deal with it when they're 4, 5, 2, 3, whatever. It doesn't discriminate.
Right.
So-
And you've been involved in that for
Quite a long time.
long time.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's got to feel pretty amazing.
It feels great. It feels fantastic.
And especially because your dad was a victim.
Yes.
When you and Brotman went to see Ali at Yankee Stadium against Ken Norton, and you go to the dressing room afterwards and he speaks those prophetic words, don't sell yourself, hold on to everything you got, don't be like me. Just a little bit on how much of a hero he might have been coming up at an age that you were.
Muhammad Ali, to me,
You talk about changing the canvas.
he was such an inspiration.
Right.
And to me, he was God. You know,
Absolutely.
he was bigger than life, bigger than boxing. And to have stumbled somehow down into his dressing room just before he's about to fight one of the toughest men in the world, Ken Norton, he spent about maybe 10 minutes with me, giving me advice about what I should do if I should turn professional.
Well, he starred in the gold medal Olympic winner as well.
He did the
He probably
same
felt
thing.
a connection.
There was a connection. There was a bond right away. And I saw the sincerity in this man's eyes prior to one of his biggest fights of his career. And he gave me time, whether it was a minute or 10 minutes. It was priceless,
Yeah, monumental.
without question.
Yeah. Yeah, Norton with that dragging right leg.
Oh, yeah, but
Oh, God, so hard.
hit like a ton of bricks.
So hard. My trainer in your camp for a long time, right?
A long, long, long time.
And preparing for the first title bout, I love how he gets together with Benitez guy, and they sit down in a hotel room and try to hash out this deal. And I imagine Benitez guy is like, look, I got the champ, you got the challenger. We're taking the money. And trainers they're saying, there is no money without my guy. Because I found this shocking that Benitez, the champ, the largest purse he had made was $150,000.
Right.
And, oh God, and trainers just saying, I'm going to get $2 million and change. How are we going to carve this up? Boy, that hotel room. And it went on for hours and hours, back and forth. What a dance that must have been.
But you know the thing about it, I was never involved
in
those things, the negotiation naturally. But when he would tell me
Right.
of the conversations, the back and forth. I mean, it was like it was a fight. It was back and forth, back and forth. It was like poker face. And he made them understand that I was the name. I had the power of making the numbers add up. He was a champion, so let's decide upon this thing. And the great thing about it was the fact that we got the fight held in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace, which was like my second home. All my big fights were there.
Right.
You know, that was the mecca of boxing.
They were right, because this guy wanted him to fight in New York.
In New York,
Right.
you know, or Puerto Rico.
Or Puerto Rico.
Or Puerto Rico.
Right.
And Mike convinced them.
How big of a thing is that? Because we mentioned the Moscow and the Poland thing, when you're fighting in somebody else's backyard. How powerful is that when it gets inside your head?
At some point or a certain level, you can brush that aside. You can. It's more minuscule than anything, but it's a factor. For the most part, fighting someone's backyard is kind of psychologically challenging.
Yeah, I would think so.
It is, because
The fans.
exactly. You walk out there, they boo you, get you, and again, once you at that level, you have tunnel vision. But every now and then,
Yeah, there's somebody out there yelling.
and gets through to you.
Yeah.
Because they'll say a certain thing
Oh yeah.
that kind of penetrates that.
To this day, when I'm on stage and I see someone sitting in the audience like this,
You know, right?
doesn't matter how confident I feel at that point, it's over in a heartbeat.
Is
Or
it?
this, if I look out in the audience, I see this. I'm telling you, I could be soaring like an eagle, and I see one yawn, and it is a nosedive right into the side of the mouth.
I've never seen someone do that when I was fighting.
Oh, good. Well, listen. I understand. First of all, the yawn is a lack of oxygen to the brain. It actually has nothing to do with whether you're tired or not, or so I told myself when I saw the person yawning in the front row.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, well, trust me, you don't want to when you're talking for a living, especially. Benitez was not just the champion, the title holder, the first one that you faced, but he was sort of thought of as unbeatable and in his own world, in his own camp. So in other words, it wasn't just your first title fight, but you were instantly, I found this rather interesting, a favorite. And I would imagine in the ring, that fueled him considerably. And so I was curious how much that sort of thing factors in when you're the favorite, because I imagine throughout most of your career you were the favorite, although I do love you coming out of retirement against, tell me if I've got these facts straight, because in my mind it's a gorgeous story, and I do want it to be clear. You come out of retirement, you fight Hagler the champ, you're the underdog for one of the very first times, or very few times. You beat him and he retires the next day.
Correct.
Is that all correct?
That's all correct.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he retired the same. Well, you know what? I think he did retire that night.
Yes.
No, I'm certain he retired that night. Hagler is old school. Hagler, who I respect.
Marvelous. Marvelous.
Marvelous Marvin Hagler would fight anybody, anytime,
And destroy
them.
Yeah.
And
He was fearless. He was one of those sort of monster mash machines that was fearless. Didn't have the style, didn't have the speed, as much speed. He wasn't a slowpoke. But he was a killer. He was a destroyer. He was a career stopper.
Yeah.
Which is why, you know, when people talk about various moments of the seminal fights that Ali had, the Thriller, Manila, whatnot, and people mention the No Mas, Duran with you. That statistic, and I'm happy that I had it right, of you coming out of retirement and an underdog against Hagler, who was the career stopper. You beat him and he retires the next day. You try to attach those timelines to any other sport, and it doesn't compute. Those sort of defeats are only in this game, where someone just turns out the lights of their career. In the case of, I also like when after you got the title, you're still what, 20?
I'm 21, 22 at that time.
Ridiculous, utterly ridiculous. and Dundee is helping pick the fights to keep you sharp and strong. Your, I think, only second fight after getting the title is against Duran. And
My second fight, yes.
Yeah, he somehow gets inside your head. Now, you're only 22, 23, so maybe it makes more sense, but he somehow gets inside your head and you decide to go toe-to-toe instead of use the finesse and the speed. He somehow pissed you off enough. And I wondered, was it from his experience, or was he just belligerent that he was able to get in your head to have you challenge yourself? You know what? I'm actually going to go toe to toe with this monster. I'll beat him on his terms.
Belligerent? Hell, I could have been just as belligerent as he. I mean, I'm from the streets too.
You were stubborn.
Yeah. But what happened when we met in New York, Waldorf Astoria, and for the press conference to announce the fight, you know, he had a big glove on, boxing glove, and he poked me like boom. It was funny. And they did it again. Then they did it again. They kept doing it. I said, what the fuck? And now I'm like, okay, man, okay. And that's it. Then he looks at me like, maricón. But I mean, gave me all these hand gestures and everything. And I'm smiling because I was taught to smile when there's a camera.
That's right.
So he was challenging my manhood.
Absolutely.
And it was killing me because I wanted to strike him back. And so then I hate being around him and his presence because I felt less than a man.
Challenged.
Exactly.
In a way that had nothing to do with the sport, almost.
No.
Yeah.
So in my head, I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna get him back. I'm gonna fight him and beat him in his own game. And it's stuck because I'm a stubborn guy. I locked it in my mind, in my brain. It was there. No one could have changed my mind.
Do you think he was smart enough that it was a tactic? Or was he just a belligerent bully?
No. It was a tactic. It was a
because it's brilliant.
It's like a bully at school. That bully will push you, and knowing full well that you won't push back.
Right.
I never pushed back until the second fight, but he kept pushing, and I didn't push back. He took advantage of that. Duran was smart.
Yeah.
He understood psychological warfare.
It's brilliant as a tactic.
It is. I mean.
And then a complete, perfect, full circle. You use a tactic that I thought was astounding because everyone in your corner is saying, in terms of a rematch, don't fight him right away. Don't fight him again right away. You knew that he was going to fatten up
I knew that.
off the success of the fight, that he was going to go out and eat and drink until he passed out, and the time for the rematch is now, while he's fattening up. That's brilliant beyond... Oh my God, that's crazy.
I observed people more than they observed me.
Right.
And I knew he had a history of gaining weight, especially if a big win. I mean, sky's the limit. And he's going to drink, he's going to fatten up.
What are you guys fighting at that point?
147, welterweight.
Right.
So within that 5-month, 4-month period,
he put on 20 pounds.
He was 200 pounds. From 147 to 200 pounds. He went up that high. So now
that's like pizza, ice cream every day, and nothing but, and booze.
It's true. Fight a different class.
He put that weight on.
You're salivating.
So now he's feeling like I felt, because when I fought him in Montreal in June, you know, I didn't feel strong. And then here's the beautiful thing about this whole fight, the rematch in New Orleans, less than 6 months later.
6 months.
Less than 6 months later.
Put on 50 pounds in less than 6. What the fuck? Not even De Niro can do that.
No.
That is
not even with the camera.
That is focus. Seriously, you're talking about determination.
No, he went for the gusto.
Could you put on 50 pounds in the next 6 months?
I couldn't put on 15 pounds in 6 months.
He went for the gusto. I mean, he did it first class.
So is the thinking, I'll never have to fight again? Whatever.
No.
Who knows?
But I'm in the ring, and I'm so focused. I'm so ready for him. And who sings America the Beautiful? My namesake, Ray Charles. My name is Ray Charles.
Right.
Ray Charles. And I'm like, holy.
Tonight's the night.
This is it. I mean, going in, I felt confident. But when I met my namesake, of all places, in the ring.
That was the first time you guys met?
First time.
Oh.
First time. No one knew he was
That's a good sign.
Oh, it was a good sign.
Yeah.
And I'm standing, I'm dancing, I'm so loose. And I glance over at Duran.
He still has a drink in his hand.
No. But he's looking like, I need my passport. You know? Now it's America versus Panama. Yeah. It really is. I mean, it really felt that way. I felt like this is America, baby.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. Well, a very historical 8th round, I believe it was. In the stomach cramps incident. Wow, what a seminal moment in any sport that was. An utter disbelief for everyone watching when he threw in the towel in the middle of the fight. But I wonder, for a warrior. First of all, let's talk about how much are you getting from your camp saying it's too soon, it's too soon, it's too soon, and was it just a matter of you explaining to them he's going to be out of shape, now's the time?
Well. First of
boy,
all,
was that brilliant.
Well, first of all, I was in Hawaii with my wife because we had a getaway. I mean,
Sure.
She fainted at the fight. My first wife, Juanita, she fainted. I mean, she's never seen me take so much punishment.
Right.
So I took her away to Hawaii, and while I'm there, I mean, I'm 20-some years old, so I heal very fast. I'm on the beach running, and I just get that feel. People tell me, "Hey, man, you could have won that fight if you boxed them. Use your hand speed." And I'm saying, "Oh, they're right." And I knew right away I wanted a rematch, because after that fight, I was beat up. I mean, I never had contusions and
right.
I mean, just he knocked my front teeth back, and I remember sitting in the corner. I said, "Guys, my teeth knocked back?" He said, "Oh no, you're fine. You're fine."
There's a corner for you.
Yeah.
You're fine, champ.
You're fine, champ. Are you sure? Oh yeah, you're fine, man. I got to my hotel after the fight. Doctors came in there with these like hypodermic needles, drawing blood out of my ears because cauliflower.
Right.
That's what happens when the friction. And I said, and then my attorney, Mike Trainer, said, "You know what, Ray? You don't really need this anymore if you don't want to. You can just pack it in. You okay?" And I felt that way. I felt like, let's just go home. Because when a fighter loses a fight, especially a guy who's undefeated, there's nothing you can say to him.
Right.
That's going to make him feel better.
Nothing.
There's nothing you can say to me that's going to make me feel better. Actually, you're pissing me off being here. Because I want to be by myself. Because we have to sit down, take a rewind the tape and find out what the hell happened.
Right.
Why am I
here? You got
here?
to make sense of it.
Make sense of it. And you go home, your ego is bruised, your head is bruised, but we heal fast when you're 20.
Yeah. And also, it starts to make sense to you that you fought the wrong way.
The wrong fight, and I didn't.
And then it becomes scientific and mathematic, and then it all starts to make sense in a new way.
Yeah.
Oh, right. If I just do what I do.
In fact, the very first round, I was kind of boxing him. If you go back and watch the tape, in the first round, I was starting to box him. Then somebody said, "All right, no, be stupid." And I stood toe to toe.
Yeah.
They call him Manos de Piedras, hands of stone. His fist felt like stone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd never been hit like that.
Clearly,
just powerful.
I don't imagine even Thomas the Hitman Hearns put that sort of impact behind as Duran. So you were right. 6 months, he put on the 50 pounds, and he's done. No mas. But that moment as a warrior that I was saying, where you've come to not only regain the title, regain your position, regain your place in this world, but also, I imagine there's a sense of everyone wants closure. Everyone cries about having closure, and he's quitting in the 8th round. And all the microphones in your face afterwards. And I love this quote, if it's in fact true. You said, when everyone's saying, that this is an incomplete victory. I made him quit. To make Roberto Duran quit was actually better than knocking him out. And I thought, he did quit the business that day. He didn't just quit the fight. He was through. And so there must have been closure for that.
There was, to a degree, because although he quit, it was the way he quit.
Right.
I think Duran threw his hands up in frustration, quit, said, whether he said no mas or not, whatever, but he quit because he was so frustrated and humiliated that without thinking about the repercussions it would have on his legacy or his reputation, he said, I don't need this shit. That's it. But it became more about him quitting than I made him quit.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Duran, no one would ever think or could imagine him, of all people,
Yeah.
quitting.
Yeah. No, it was, in fact, your stubbornness to go toe-to-toe was only outmatched by his stubbornness that caused him to quit.
Right.
Because of the humiliation. Yeah, it was absurd how bad he looked immediately in the rematch because of your decision to do it your way.
It was fun.
Well, it must have been. In terms of
It
a
was
second
fun.
chance,
Yeah.
which comes rare in life. That is the one thing about the rematch that I sort of grasped for the first time in a new light, going through the research on this. It is a true second chance, these rematches, to right a wrong for your own personal...
There's no greater gratification, satisfaction. To have your hands raised in victory as champion, there is no greater feeling. And we as fighters, if we don't let that go when our career comes to a head, we continue to search. We continue to financially and also from the feeling of reaching out or going back to that ring. Because that ring is like our domain.
Yeah, it's the ultimate drug.
It is seductive.
Yeah, no, people, when people aren't yawning in the audience when I perform, and the show goes well, and people will say, you know, you're doing all these movies, why are you doing stand-up comedy? The truth is, in terms of the drug, the seduction, being live on stage in front of an audience and taking them on a ride of my choosing for an hour will always be more rewarding instantly.
Instantly, yeah.
Living and dying by my own wits on a moment-to-moment basis. It is close to the fight game in that regard, how you are challenged literally from moment to moment by the audience, and not just, you know, your health is not in danger, you're not going to be physically harmed, but your success is gauged on a moment-by-moment basis.
I agree.
And versus sitting on my ass in the trailer while they're waiting to call me for the next shot, working on a movie, they'll never compare. So I imagine when, I guess it was 81, was that when, was it the Duran, well, no, the Duran, the rematch that caused the
detached
retina?
Well, they don't really know, and there is no way to know.
Right.
It's a
build up.
It's a gradual progression of trauma to the eye.
Right.
I mean, from being a kid, being poked in the eye, playing basketball, football, whatever. I mean, but it multiplies being a boxer because you're always sparring all the time.
Right.
But that.
In fact, it's kind of strange, forgive me interrupting, that it doesn't happen more often or all the time in this game.
If you did a test on most people involved with physical sports, or it's just regular sport, it'd be surprising of the abnormalities that we have because of the nature of our sport.
Right.
It's fascinating, but thank God for medical technology, I was corrected. And I see my ophthalmologist every year just to make sure that I'm okay. And no fears. I mean, people would tell me how I would feel, but I never had that sense. I've never had that feel. I never felt that I was handicapped or whatever.
Right.
In the ring. When I came back, I came back too many times, but the good times that I came back.
Well, it was only 2 years That was the thing also, or so it seemed in the research.
It was 2 years, but 2 years is a long time of inactivity.
Lifetime.
A lifetime. It
Yeah.
really is. I mean, because what happened? A woman asked me years ago, in passing. She said, "Sugar Ray, do you have to train your face to get hit?" I said, "That's so silly." But you do, because for those 2 years, I put makeup on. Not absorbing trauma. And when I first got back into the ring after that long layoff, the punches hurt. Now you have a different appreciation of the punches. Then all of a sudden now, because you're not television, because now you're concerned about your kid here, or your wife, or your whatever, your job, your investment.
Not single-minded.
You're not single-minded.
Right.
That's when you get hurt.
Right. The new book that you had come out in June talks about what those 2 years were like for you. You were more candid about it in the book than I think people knew. So that must have been extremely cathartic to put it down in the book after
Right.
all these years. But I don't know what the rebuilding process is in terms of the comeback. As an athlete, you talk about getting back in the ring and the punches actually hurt, but it was only 2 years. And also, when you left the game, you were only, what, 25?
I was retired at 25, 26, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is
It's
absurd. It's beyond unfair.
Yeah, yeah.
It's absurd. So I imagine the anger you must have felt.
It was more confusion, because I couldn't understand why didn't I say, I want to fight. Because I asked my ophthalmologist, the late Dr. Ron Michael, said, "Ray, if you want to continue your career, you can. Your eyes, there's no guarantee, but from the looks of things, your eyes is fine." And I always wanted to be different, to be perceived as being different than the other guys.
Right.
But in doing so, I did an injustice to myself, especially at 25, 26, of saying, I'm stopping something that I enjoyed doing.
Yeah, you were loving it. Let's not forget that part.
With loving it. Oh, yes. It was my life
Yeah.
for that time.
Yeah. And then you're 25, 26, and regardless of what your career is, or regardless of what your purpose in life is, nobody's done at 25, 26, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
But then there's something about the athlete, the competitive nature, the intelligence with which you practice your career, the decision you make on the Duran, those sort of things, knowing he's going to gain weight, the timing of all that part of the game is something that's gone also.
Right.
Not just using your athleticism, but the control that you have over the game.
I miss that.
Yeah.
I miss that. I miss the camaraderie. I miss the training camp. I miss that preparing for the fight. I miss writing down my little speech for the press conference. I do those. I love those things.
Yeah.
And didn't
How much
have
of,
that.
by the way, how much of an inspiration was Ali in terms of writing the press conference speech? Because
Ali was just I wrote my stuff down. If I could, would have had used cue cards.
who could blame you?
Yeah, teleprompter.
Right.
But I love that, because I love beating the guys from a mental perspective first,
Right.
and then breaking them down physically.
And you had a favorite place to train?
We would train in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I loved it there because it was like 100 degrees, and it was all about losing weight, always maintain weight, especially with Duran. Weight was the major factor in a fight. Make sure you make weight. Make sure you make weight. Because there were times I would get up before the night before a fight. I'd get up maybe a dozen times, go in the bathroom, check my weight. And although I'm like 146, I still go to sleep and I never slept. I never slept through the night because I'm always
The night
thinking
before
about,
a fight?
Because I'm thinking about weight. Although I'm 2 pounds under, I'm thinking about when I get up. Maybe I inadvertently drank a sip of water. Because we would dry out.
Yeah.
We would not eat. We were emaciated.
And making the weight takes place hours and hours before the fight, or
Days. We dry out. As we're close to the fight, for the most part, whether it's safe or not, we would dry out. We would deprive our bodies of fluids, water, and we stop eating almost. Maybe we eat a chip, potato chip, maybe one.
while you're
maybe
still
two.
training.
Yeah, as we're getting closer to the fight.
Right.
Because we want to get down. Lemons, because the lemon makes you, gives you.
Literally and physically.
Yes.
We talked about the fun and the art and the brain work behind the game. So let's jump around and tell me about being technical advisor on the movie The Fighter and how much fun that might have been for you.
You know what? Actually, I was playing golf with Mark Wahlberg 10 years ago, maybe. And he said, Ray, you know, I'm doing this movie. I'm working on this movie, and I would love for you to do a cameo. I said, sure, Mark, you know. And I didn't hear anything for years.
Right. He worked on it forever.
He worked himself into amazing shape. He's just an amazing athlete. And then one day he called, he said, Ray, can you do that cameo? I said, sure, Mark. Because to me, that movie, the Fighter, I remember that fight against Dick Eklund, played by Christian Bale, like it was yesterday.
Really?
I remember like being in that ring with that guy, and I mean I could have beat him easier, but he was tough. He was tough, and he was unorthodox, and he was determined. And when I slipped, which I did, the place went nuts. The place went crazy, because if you remember, back in the day, like back in the '70s, you know, I love Boston, but Boston back then was a bit racial.
Was it?
A little bit.
There's an understatement.
A little bit.
Wow.
A little bit.
That may be the understatement of the day.
Yeah, because I landed in Boston. I'm walking to my car, and this pastor, this priest walked by. He said, "Hey, boy, how you doing?" I said, "Hey, Father."
That's the priest, by
Yeah,
the way.
priest. Yeah.
That's the man of the cloth.
And I was like, "Wow,
Yeah,
man."
welcome to Boston.
Yeah. So when I went down, you know, they went berserkers. And then when I went to do my little cameo in the ring, got a standing ovation. How many years is that?
A few.
A few years.
Couple, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of years. Yeah, but I was very impressed with that movie.
Yeah. Tell me about. I mentioned the Spinks brothers in the Olympics that year with you. What is your take on these two knuckleheads?
Oh man, I love those guys,
Yeah.
man. I love those. And Michael and Leon in particular, was a piece of work. And they voted me in as captain, you know, of the team. And it was my job to wake all my teammates up, you know, around 5 o'clock in the morning. So I would wake up Howard Davis, wake up, you know, Michael, and,
Right.
Howard Davis, and so on. But I was so afraid to wake up Leon, because Leon would be in bed.
Come up swinging, sucking his thumb.
Yeah, well, I think he suckers. Well, and I said, Leon. And he, oh, that's okay, man. Go back to sleep. But he was so determined, and
Yeah.
he got in the best shape. He was, when you like now, you talk to him one-on-one, the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
He just had a few obstacles he had to overcome.
Let's call them obstacles.
I love calling them obstacles.
I mentioned the 5 weight class division titles. What the hell enters your mind that? I mean, there's a reason it had never been done. First of all, I can't imagine anyone gained titles in more than 3, let alone 5. Was it even 2? I mean,
it was
a little.
Sugar Ray Robinson went from welterweight to middleweight, and he tried to light heavy.
Tried.
Yeah. Well, it was the heat that kind of. It was over 100 degrees in the ring.
Right.
But I was doing like Sugar Ray Robinson, so I went from welterweight to junior middleweight to middleweight, then super middleweight, and then light heavyweight. But the last two, the super middleweight, what happened, I fought this kid, he calls him a kid, Donnie Lalonde from Canada, Toronto, and for the vacant super middleweight 168 title.
Right.
But because he was not known, he was, good-looking white kid with blonde hair, well-spoken.
Sounds like Canada.
Yeah. So he put his title on the line too, his light heavyweight title on the line. So it became more attractive. 2 titles on the line.
I got you.
It was from a marketing standpoint. It was, it meant a lot.
A marketing ploy, if you will.
If you will.
And yet, you benefited ridiculously from it. Let's be honest. Because that's a title that you weren't necessarily going after prior. You hadn't set your sights on, well, I want that on my...
No, but it was accomplishments, and it was fighting a legitimate light heavyweight champion, winning 2 titles in one night. It looked great on my resume.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Light heavyweight?
Yeah, but look at me. You could beat me.
How does that happen again? Was that the Donnie? Was he the light heavyweight?
He was light heavyweight.
He was light heavyweight. All right. We like to involve our audience with their questions, those of them watching live. This one comes to us from the Twitter universe, at Merlang, who asks, if Sugar didn't go into boxing, in which other sports might he have gone pro? I know you like basketball, but was there any ever the greatest point guard?
Yeah. The only sport I wanted to excel in was gymnastics, but it was too expensive.
Really?
Yeah. I was not athletically inclined. I was the worst basketball player. Football player, I said, no way, these guys too big. Baseball I thought was too dangerous because of the speed of the ball. I was not, track, maybe cross country, because I can run pretty far, pretty fast. But boxing was it.
Yeah. A brother Roger had started in.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I hate to interrupt. I'm just curious. Baseball, too dangerous.
With the ball.
Boxing, fine.
He's got a point. He's got a point, sir.
No, I'll explain, Sam. Sam, right?
Yes.
He does have a point, sir.
No,
just curious.
No, the ball is one thing. It's a ball at a crazy speed.
Right.
But with the hands, I control the atmosphere.
Technically.
Yeah.
The number of times that a ball player is hit in the face with the ball.
Very few.
But
really?
very few.
Very few.
Well, but it comes close, right?
There's a lot of old-timers ball games. Not a lot of old-timey boxing matches. That's what I think.
Another fine point, sir.
Another fine point.
Yeah.
I rest my case.
That's beautiful.
That was well put.
Now I wonder why Sam was here over the last 72 shows, and now it all makes sense.
you.
Okay.
Happy to pitch in.
From George R., also known as Elaine's stepdaddy, your match with Hagler is considered by many as one of the greatest boxing matches of all time. Do you consider it your best? I mentioned the moment in time, Hagler retiring the next morning, and you corrected me saying, no, it was that night. What the hell was it about that fight that does stand out more? Because there were, as I mentioned, in my opinion, you had more seminal fights than Ali in terms of moments in boxing history. But there was something about that fight with Hagler. So this is an excellent question. Thank you, George R. For you, what do you think it might be?
That was against all odds. That was...
Yeah. How many in your camp is saying no?
All of them, but
Yeah.
all of them except my father. I truly believe my father believed I could beat Mike Tyson.
Sure.
But they all, when I first made the announcement I was going to fight, my brother Roger said, "So Ray, who's your tune-up?" You know, because normally guys would have a tune-up fight before that big fight.
Yes, they would, Ray.
I know. I'm a what they call nonconformist. Mm-hmm. I said, Hagler. He said, no. I know you're fighting Hagler, but who's the tune-up? I said, Hagler's the tune-up. Ray, you misunderstanding me. No one. I truly believe no one.
Yeah.
You know.
Thought it was a good idea.
No, it was. I mean, it was like death.
Yeah. What did he represent to you in terms of the science of the game and putting together your game plan in preparation?
What I did to him was I never pissed him off verbally. What happens with most fighters, they create this aggression because all of a sudden now they don't like you. So when they go to training camp, they're like, I'm gonna kick this ass.
They have to hate you.
Hate you. I never made that possible because at the press conference, I would say, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, thank you so much. I truly believe you're the best fighter in the world, and you got great kids. You're a great father. You're a great husband. I never said anything to piss him off.
So you didn't say, "I'm gonna eat your kids."
Never said that.
You went the other way.
I went the other way. Yeah. And then I had a guy. I sent a guy, one of my guys, to his training camp to just not to spy, but kind of see what he's doing.
Sure.
Is that spying?
Well, no.
Oh.
Reporting.
Spy?
No.
Reporting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we found out that Hagler had this thing in his head that the first fighter to the center of the ring is the guy who's going to win. The first guy that goes to the center of the ring during
Like
the
a
round.
superstition?
Yeah, maybe fighters have. We have, yeah.
Sure.
So if you go back and watch the tape, you'll notice I would kind
You
of rush.
raced to the center?
Just the first.
To fuck with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's pretty great, but you had to have more of a game plan than I'm going to be in the center first.
No. Okay. Yeah.
Because that's great. I
Yeah.
don't wanna take
So
anything away from it.
so I'm training. Actually, I had a fight before the real fight because I brought in fighters from around the country. I brought in judges, real judges. I brought in the official referee. I brought in those guys who scored the fights with computer, and I had about 2 fights, real fights. Actually, I cut to get that feel back. You know what I mean? The feel of getting hit again, the feel of being hurt. And I had 14-ounce gloves, no headgear. The other guys, middleweights, had 10-ounce gloves, fighting gloves with headgear.
Jesus.
So we went for it. I mean, really going for it. Hitting in the whole. I had to do a simulation of boxing, get it back, get the feel back.
Right.
And that's what we lose. We lose that commitment, especially once you reach a certain level. You lose that commitment to take a punch. In other words, if I was fighting you, Kevin, no, really, I would boom hit you. Not even think about it. But now, right now, I would say, if I hit Kevin, he may end up hitting me back. So I'm thinking about. Whereas that before, I didn't think about, because I knew you wouldn't touch me.
Right.
Does that make
Right,
sense?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cause with it.
Now, they're laughing out there, and I hate to bring this up, but because I've been mentioning it for weeks now, and since we knew you were going to be on, I've been saying I plan on challenging you to a fight. But you're in luck. I could not find my boxing gloves.
We don't need boxing gloves.
All right, then let's lay some ground rules. 1, you're only allowed to use one arm. And 2, in the match, I will be played by Dolph Lundgren.
Okay, Sam.
Okay, good.
Okay, good.
All right, we'll do it after the show.
Call me.
Okay.
Thank you. I do know what you mean in terms of not just being fearless as a younger fighter, but also when you're doing nothing but winning, the consequences don't enter into the equation.
No.
When you're a true champion.
Right.
And it is, I imagine, more so than most sports. The great thing about golf is it's the ultimate Zen sport. The harder you try, the worse you do.
Right.
Get out of your own way. All these things make it what it is. And there's a level of confidence with which you dominate a sport like boxing where you're right. You cannot possibly think about the consequences. If I hit you, you might get pissed off and hit me back.
Right.
And so when it comes to facing a haggler at that point, you're saying you're going through this extra training and these efforts to regain the fearlessness.
Right.
Yeah.
Then also, in a gym, I may look fantastic. They say, oh, Ray, holy shit, Ray looks great, because my hand speed. And the key is balance, being on balance, knowing where you are at all times without looking where you are at all times. When I got into the ring with Hagler, I'm saying, holy crap. Because, you know, I still don't know if I'm going to be Sugar Ray. I don't know.
Right.
The bell rings, bing, and I'm out there. I'm nervous energy. I'm moving. And I did that, and he did that. I said, hell, he's scared too.
Oh, nice.
And that's not a joke. That's real. When he did that, I said, he's afraid too. So as the rounds progressed, I got more and more into the fight, whereas that he was losing the rounds because he fought me the wrong way too. He fought me right-handed. He's a southpaw. He should have said southpaw, because southpaw is, in other words, everything comes at you opposite.
Sure.
It's confused, just an awkward position.
But you'd done well against southpaws before, so is that what he was thinking?
No, but because I don't need that.
Right.
Just even going 15 rounds, win 12 rounds. Because although I can go 15 rounds, 12 rounds sounds better in my head.
Sure.
For being out of the ring for so long.
Yeah.
So I got these little points, the big ring, this and that.
Right.
You know, it's Vegas, Caesar's Palace. It's just
Back on your home turf.
all these things were in my head.
Why do we suppose he went with the right stance?
Because he also believed the fact that he was going to outbox me. Because during the press conference, I said, you know what, guys? You guys insult this man's intelligence because you think he's just a bully. He's just a brawler. This man's he's a better boxer than I am. So Hagler gets to the podium. He said, you know what? I may surprise all of you. I may outbox Ray. I said, I fucking got him. Because
If he tries that, it's like you going toe-to-toe with Durant.
hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And before he realized what had taken place, it was too late.
You were ahead.
He needed a knockout to win.
At what point does that become part of the game plan? Now I just need to not get knocked out. Other than every waking moment while you're in the ring.
Well, it comes into play. It comes because all of a sudden you start to make sense of things in that ring, but it's always too late. It's always too late. You say, God, I should have put more pressure on it. I should have thrown more body shots.
Right.
These things take place. But check this out. You're gonna love this. All the fights I lost, 3 fights, I knew in the dressing room I was gonna lose. I knew.
How?
Because I don't have biorhythms. I don't have that feel, that urge, that sensation. You know, sometimes you feel lousy going on stage, and you just don't feel it. I mean, every now and then, I don't feel like fighting.
Only those 3 times you had that feeling?
Yeah, 3 times, and I lost 3 times. 3 times.
Jesus.
And as I walk towards the ring, I'm saying to myself, I wonder if they wouldn't mind if we postpone this for a couple of days.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
No.
Especially on the third of the 3, where you had the feeling, you knew what it felt like the last 2 times.
Oh, yes.
And you lost.
I lost.
So the 3rd time you're thinking, I got to get out of this.
Oh, yeah.
This is a horrible idea.
It is the most frightening experience in the world. Walking to your
Knowing
death.
that you're
knowing that you're gonna get your butt kicked.
You got inside your own head, as it were.
No.
Nope.
Nope. It's just I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have the commitment again.
Right.
Because I'm going through a divorce. You know, I'm missing my kids. I'm not really happy. I don't. You know, I'm not doing this for the right reason.
Right.
I was coming back. The times I came back, because I was lost. My self-esteem dropped. That's when I went to the drugs.
Right.
The alcohol was a Band-Aid.
Right.
And the more I drank, the more I lost my emotional stability, and I would cry, and it's just my world was crumbling.
Yeah.
But people saw me. I'm like, how you doing, Ray? I'm fine, baby.
Yeah, you continued to be the people's champ.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. In retirement, you were celebrated nonstop.
But I was hurting inside.
It didn't diminish while you're absolutely crumbling and
crumbling.
yeah.
It was crumbling.
And it's not the kind of sport that you go back to and succeed if you're not 100%.
You can't play boxing.
No, you really
play
can't.
basketball, you play tennis, you can't play boxing. Boxing demands that you give it 100%.
Yeah, and focus. Other team sports, certainly.
Yes.
A game like tennis, it's just you. Certainly a game like golf. Team sports, you've got other players to rely on.
But there's no better there's no better sport that builds character, that builds a sense of self, a sense of empowerment
Yeah.
than boxing. You know, take away the physical contact, but just the feeling of training and having discipline to do.
The discipline truly is unparalleled.
It is.
But also the like I was saying earlier, the getting inside of the opponent's head, the figuring out the masterfulness with which the best in your field could figure out how to defeat. Like you say, the brute strength aside, is there anything sweeter than the rope-a-dope in terms of game plan? I'm going to get the hardest puncher in history to box himself into being exhausted while I stand in front of him.
When Ali did that, I was almost in tears when when he accepted to fight George Foreman. I said, "Oh my God, he's gonna kill Ali."
But then the masterfulness of figuring out that puzzle, that part of the game for you and for others, has to be more fulfilling and rewarding when you win that chess match than to ever win it with your hands.
Without question. Without question. And it comes into play, Kevin. It comes into play right away, instantaneously. It comes into play.
In the press conference.
Yeah. You see it taking shape. You see it, all of a sudden he'll say, well, now I may surprise the whole world. I'll box Ray. Hagler saying that.
Music.
You know? I'm like, whoa. You know?
Yeah.
It's great.
All right. We have another form of questions that comes from the audience here. It is rapid fire, 5 questions in a row. They are this or that, Coke or Pepsi kind of no correct answer.
Right.
We call them Tweet 5.
T5, T5, T5 forever now.
Does anybody ever want to fight T-Bone, by the way? Would anyone want to fight T-Bone?
Well, yes, because he would show up drunk.
He would show up drunk.
Just push him over.
And he's a rascal.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, this one, that was Dave Kagner, the wonderful and always entertaining, who brings us that wonderful T5. This Tweet 5 for you comes from at Jeff, is it Mudlin? At Jeff Mudlin, Mudlin. Yeah, Jeff Mudlin. All right, here we go.
Let's go with it.
This or that, Coke or Pepsi, no correct answer, rapid fire. Grills, George Foreman or Weber?
George Foreman.
WWE or UFC?
UFC.
HBO or ESPN?
HBO.
James Brown or Michael Jackson?
James Brown.
Rocky or Apollo?
Rocky.
Come on. These are easy.
No, I was just saying what.
Stream of conscious. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's how you. Do you follow the WWE and the UFC?
UFC. I follow that.
Yeah.
I watch. I went to one. I went to Brock Lesnar, the big guy, big heavyweight guy, and I spoke with Dana White because I was so curious how this thing just
Yes.
became so big. He said, Ray, I would come and watch you fight or Ali fight. He said, and I, did that, created that, and then added music, added a little sexiness, and voila.
Yeah.
It's, they have characters, they have personalities. Boxing doesn't have that like it used to back in the day. Boxing needs more characters, less self-governing bodies. Right now it's WBC, WBA, IBU, UBME. I mean, all these, it's just too many. It dilutes, I think. It truly dilutes
Oh, sure. Sure.
the true meaning.
There's more personality, you're saying, in
Oh, yeah, and
the new world.
in the world, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need, it has to, boxing back in the day was an event you go to. You know, you
Oh,
went
man.
to. It was great, man.
I was ringside for the so-called bite when Tyson took a piece of Mr. Holyfield as a souvenir. And I will tell you, being ringside for that moment in boxing infamy
Yeah.
was the worst place to be because there's no instant replay, there's no announcers. While everyone watching pay-per-view knew exactly what was happening because they kept showing it over and over again, and the announcer was saying, "I think he bit him." While you're sitting ringside, if you didn't have the right angle and the ref steps in and says it's over, you have no idea what just happened. They were in a clinch, and now it's over. There was no slow motion of the piece of beer coming out of his mouth. There was no replay of Mike taking the tooth guard out of his mouth before, in preparation of the premeditated act. There was none of that. There was just, there another clinch. He must have headbutted him. He must have headbutted him. What do you mean? It's over. And then gunplay on the way out because a lot of people were very, very upset. What is it for you? What is it like for you to go and watch some of these? Because I tell you, Jamie's a devoted fan of hockey her whole life, coming from Pittsburgh, caring more about her Penguins than her Steelers. And I knew nothing about it growing up in the Bay Area. It was long before the Sharks. So my first experience was in her hometown of Pittsburgh, and being there on the glass, as they say, and watching hockey live. And I'd always heard it's one of the greatest live sports. I don't know if you've ever been, but there's a sense of chaos that takes place on the ice. There's no formation. There's no flying V. There's no... I don't even know if there are plays in hockey. I'm sure there are plays. I'm sure there are plays at practice. They practice plays. But once that puck is in the air and on the ice, it's just chaos. And therefore, fascinating and the most edge of your seat sport in that regard. Other than being ringside for a fight. Because there is something about the speed, the precision, the brutality, all the things together. We as spectators don't know the gamesmanship afoot. Like I can't go to the movies without, or Jamie seeing a continuity problem, and it takes you out of the movie. Knowing what you know when you go see a boxing event. Are you able to lose yourself in the action, or are you thinking, are you putting yourself into the...
You know what happens to me, because I've lived that, so I know what they're thinking, I know what they're feeling, and it's, you know, my palms get sweat. I mean, just
because you're a commentator for years.
Yeah, and I mean, especially if it's a highly anticipated fight.
Any of them come to mind?
Well, if it was
that you were there commentating or ringside, or...
Well, it was like Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield. It was those guys. I mean, because you knew what happened in the first fight.
Right.
It was going to be war, and you just I just sit there and just because I live it. I've lived it for so long that sometimes it's almost uncomfortable. But now it's not, because I'm 55. I'm a grandfather. I know my place. I'm okay now.
So before...
It was tough. Yeah, when I was retired, when I was 25, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm not happy.
No.
You know, I'm not happy. I'm twisting, I'm turning, I'm saying,
Right.
give me another, you know, give me a drink or whatever.
Right.
Because I'm not happy there. I want to be in the action.
Right.
But now, I love the sport. I am somewhat the unofficial, official ambassador of boxing.
Well, it's pretty great, by the way,
Yeah.
as titles go.
Yeah.
So, how are you invested in the game today as the unofficial ambassador? Because what Ali was able to impart on you in his dressing room, I imagine you talk about it's time for you to give back, not just through organizations and charity work that you're spending a great deal of time on now, but also to the boxing community, as it seems to have lost its way in the light of the WWE and the UFC.
Boxing is a very resilient sport. it's going to bounce back. It has these cycles, if you will, that it's bigger than life, then it fades away. Normally, it comes back when there's a new Olympics, next Olympics, because
Stars are born.
the stars are born. It hasn't been that much because I truly believe that the amateur program or the amateur foundation has deteriorated to such a degree that you're not getting all the. It's not a feeding system anymore,
Right.
like it used to be.
Farm system.
Farm system, I
Yeah,
should
yeah.
say. And you know, Michael King is a dear friend of mine who's a major avid boxing fan, and he is really trying to rejuvenate the heavyweight division, getting these incredible elite athletes, whether they're football players or basketball players, and transforming them to boxers. And I've seen such progress over the years in what he's trying to, he's doing.
Right.
He's doing, no. He is really making a difference. And I support, without question, the amateur programs. It keeps the kids off the streets,
Yeah.
keeps them out of trouble. And
Well, at least we forget what your world was like.
Yes.
I mean, not only just 7 siblings at the time when you got started,
Right.
but according to the research anyway, school is not the safest place, let alone the playground, when you were coming up. So you know firsthand what it was like in terms of what that kind of program, how it changed your life, and what that can do for others. That has to stay with you.
Oh, it does. It does, Kevin. My life is what it is because of boxing. You know, I've met Nelson Mandela, Muhammad Ali. I mean, people.
Tell me about the Mandela.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm in South Africa, and for a speech, and I get a call from my assistant. She says, "Ray, Mr. Leonard, Mr. Nelson Mandela wants to have dinner with you." I said, "And who else?" She said, "Just you, sir." I said, "Where?" "At his home."
Because your first thought is it's a big dinner with a lot of people.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm like, okay. So the driver drives me out to his home, and knock on the door. He comes to the door.
He answers the door.
He answers the door. He gives me a big hug.
Oh, yeah.
He said, "Champion, I love you." He said, "One thing I don't tolerate is people being late." I just start sweating, right? He said, "My photographer should have been here a long time ago."
Oh.
I'm like, oh. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Oh. And we sat there. He said, "You know, you've inspired me, young man."
Oh, my.
I said, "Sir, to the contrary,
Yes.
you inspired me." And it was just, very few people have an impact on me. People like Muhammad Ali, you meet him, you know you in a fantastic place. Nelson Mandela, when I met Bill Clinton and President Obama, it's just a certain, I don't know what you call it.
Well, they're masters of the highest order of their own universe. And, you know, we talked about you rising to these levels of unprecedented career. And then there are those who sort of transcend the job, you know, and certainly in the ones you just mentioned, you no longer think about what their job title was.
Yeah.
They've risen to another place that represents, you know, holy ground and sort of unreachable height.
And 2 other people I would...
And also you lead by example.
No, but 2 other people I would have loved to have met would have been Elvis Presley.
Sure. The
and
king.
Bruce Lee.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my.
Bruce Lee.
Oh, my.
Oh,
my.
he was my idol too.
Yeah. Boy, that's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a great one. In terms of reinventing what we thought was what he did for a living. And that's that other crazy area of people who literally reinvent the occupation. I know there was something in here. Tell me a little bit more about the Walk for a Cure.
Well, you know, for me, it's always, my parents always taught us to give back. And I don't really know how it all started, about JDRF, giving back juvenile diabetes.
Right.
But I know that when I saw those little faces who had to be, had their blood checked a few times a day, it was just killing me.
There's no walking away from that.
How can you? I mean, those, and trying to find a cure is really, it's my fight. Now it's a real fight now for me.
I thought the numbers were staggering. From I was reading through the transcripts of when you talked to the Congress, and the billions of dollars. Back then, it was $24 billion alone just for California.
But you know, they just have to keep on.
Yeah.
You know, because if we can go to the moon, we could find a cure. We should find a cure.
Well, too many people have proven that we're limited by our imagination only. So at some point, when you have to devote yourself to a cause.
And Kevin, the fact that I am, you know, I sit here now in front of you. I'm a father. You know, I'm a father. I have kids. I have grandkids. And that's my most meaningful position. I mean, for me, being who I am now, it's no greater value than being a father.
Tell me about the grandkids.
Well, my son Ray Jr., who's 37, blessed me with 4 grandkids.
Oh, my. You're not spoiling them,
I
Rod.
know. I have a 27-year-old son, Jarrell. I have a 10-year-old son, Daniel, he loves baseball, volleyball, soccer, and my daughter Camille. She's a beautiful daughter, and she knows exactly how to get to me. For some, I don't know. Is it a woman thing?
Yes, I imagine.
Yeah? You think it is?
It's a daughter thing.
Yeah, it's a daughter thing. Yeah, because she said, "Papa," and I said, "Yeah, yes, Sugar Plum."
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love being a father. I love being a dad. I love being a grandfather.
Right. And showing them life in the
That's
world.
what it's all about, man. You know, and this world that we live in, with the technology, everything is just right away now. Everything is right away, instant.
Yes.
And I find myself sometimes, if I text you,
Yeah.
and you don't respond in 2 minutes, I say, Kevin is such a jerk. You know? Because it's always fast. Everything is fast.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, you know, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true.
It is true.
And to see your kids grow up in that.
And they grew up in that, you
In
know?
an utterly different world.
I mean, you can see, you know, all of a sudden now, you go with Skype or whatever,
Yeah.
and you can watch, you can see, I can talk, which I love. I can talk to my kid when I'm in Chicago, in Florida, whatever.
Right.
That's beauty.
You spend a lot of time away from home.
Yes.
You've had dalliances with show business over the years. Shall we talk about the Dancing with the Stars? That you worked 30 years at a career to become a master of the universe.
Yep.
And now there are a large millions of people group of the population who just know you as a dancer.
We have to talk about that.
All right, let's talk about the book instead. We've got a screenshot of the book. Can you throw that up there, please, to show the fine folks watching from around the world, either live or joining us on the iTunes thereafter? There it is, The Big Fight. How long did it take? This guy, by the way, that you wrote with,
Michael Arkush.
Arkush, he's about as great as it gets.
Yes. Michael is an amazing guy, and this I would not have been as revealing, if you will, if it wasn't for Mike.
He pushed.
He didn't push, but he
How did he do it?
he waited.
He waited for you to get comfortable with it.
Get comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's a matter of trust.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was trust. Yeah. He didn't push, no. Because if he had pushed, I would have pushed back and I wouldn't have gave him anything.
That wouldn't have worked.
No.
And how long did you guys work on it?
Almost 2 years.
And what was the daily process of that? I mean, are you, well, forget daily, weekly. Is there a time where you
No.
guys, is that Skype?
Daily.
Is that a thing where
No,
you guys
no,
are sitting
no.
together?
He came to my house.
Staying with your house?
He would come to my house sometimes, and every now and then we'd go somewhere else just
Right.
to change the environment. But we would be 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. Time was not a factor
Right.
until my wife would say, Ray, could you come up here for dinner? You know, please. But no, I because what would happen, I would start talking sometimes, and he would let me go.
Yeah.
I would just go.
Right.
Because something would be brought up, and I would remember that, refresh my memory, and I would talk about it. You know, especially we talked about something I never thought I would ever tell the world about the sexual abuse, and that was so difficult because, first of all, being a man,
Yeah.
being a dude, being a fighter and everything was, you know, what kept me from telling anyone.
Right.
Except I had told my first wife, Juanita, and I told my present wife, Bernadette, and, you know, they didn't know how to respond, so I always pushed it under the rug, pushed it back under the rug because it was uncomfortable for them and for me, so I let it go. But it was something that if I had not gotten out, Kevin, it would have killed me eventually.
How much did Michael, have to do with creating a space of trust, do you think?
Well, that was everything. Again, I never thought that I would be as open as I was. I
Right.
never thought I would be as transparent as I was. My wife was very concerned
I'm sure.
about me revealing this.
Because she wants your well-being and your safety. And,
Yes, and she said, you know, Ray.
and as a mate, you want to protect.
Yeah, exactly. And but you know, once I let her know what was going on inside of me,
Right.
which because I suppressed it, I kept things inside
Your whole life.
my
Yeah.
whole life.
Yeah. And it's easy to, at some point, be a master of compartmentalizing that information.
Oh yeah.
And saying, that's just a part of my history, and nobody has known about it for 30 years, 35 years. Why do they need to know about it now? It's real easy to keep that in fact, so much easier.
Oh yeah, and I did.
So the courage, quite frankly, honestly, forget how happy you are afterwards,
Right.
after sharing it. The courage building up to it, because it's the ultimate Pandora's box. And since you're the only one that knows, it's not like there's people waiting to hear it.
Right.
When's he going to tell us about how he did this? This Hagler thing.
Yeah.
When is he going to tell us about how he got inside Hagler's brain? It's not like one of those stories.
Right.
You are doing it for yourself.
Oh, without question.
And then everyone else who may have experienced something like that in their own lives benefits, who reads that in your book.
My mother was highly upset. She was highly upset. And she saw me, I was on one of the shows, Talk, and I broke
One of the
down.
morning shows
Yeah,
on the
and
network.
I broke down.
Right.
She said, Ray, are you sick? Because people cry when they're sick. I said, no, Mom, I'm not sick. I said, I'm healthy. She said, why did you talk about that? I said, Mom, it's about me, Mom. It's not about anybody else now. It's about me.
Right.
And I know what she was trying to say, but I tried to make her understand that this was about me. Because I said if I kept it inside any longer, I'll be in trouble. Because I went down the other way. I went towards the alcohol and the drugs, and I stopped the drugs back in the 80s, but the alcohol was still a situation that I was using that as a Band-Aid. I was using that because whenever I thought of these visions, I would drink, but I would drink a lot. I would consume. I didn't sip, I gulp.
Right.
And So, it could have been life-threatening. It really could have been, because
Absolutely.
I do things obsessively.
And do you find the clarity has come since?
The clarity, I'm a different person. It's a world that's been opened up to me.
Right.
That's been so beautiful.
Without burden. You didn't know what it felt like.
Isn't that amazing? Didn't know what it felt like. I had people, the money and the fame and this and that. No, but I still didn't have a life.
Right.
Because I kept something right here.
And you talk about trust. From what I understand from reading about it, we're talking about two coaches. You're 15 years old.
It was one coach. Actually, it was one coach.
You're 15 years old. You talk about trust. You're at a place in your life as a kid where you're sort of finding yourself through this sport, right? I mean, the timing of it was such that not only a part of your youth, but a part of your belief in the people who might help you, be it a coach or a trainer or what have you. The trust that's necessary in order to succeed. The fact that you succeeded in spite of it is even more monumental and, quite frankly, more inspiring of a story. I mean, it really is. It isn't just about this coach did an inappropriate thing. It was, how was I able to overcome? The quick answer is I kept it inside and didn't tell anyone. But the long answer is, I'll be damned if that's going to stop me.
Yeah.
And set me back.
And I said, it's ironic you say it that way. And there's a dichotomy, the fact that, when these things took place, I'm saying, although I'm 15, 16, I could have kicked their ass.
Instantly.
Boom. But because one was going to provide me with the knowledge, experience of the Olympics, which to me was my life. And then the other guy was a guy who gave me money because I didn't work. But in the ring always was that safe haven.
Right.
It was always that special place that I didn't think about it. I didn't think about anything but my opponents.
Right.
And that's what kept me going.
Right. But these are the people I'm making the case for, that trust issue.
Oh yeah.
From that early age, where you were right at the moment where we all learn what trust actually means. It's one thing to have it with your family, because that's all you know when you're born and you grow up. It's not an issue. It's how to make a real friend, how to make a real mate, a loved one, a relationship. You want to be able to trust these people. So I would in first reading about it, the thought of you at that age, at that point in your career, and that point in your life, the people you had to count on as you pursued the Olympics, of all people, how you didn't have ridiculous, insurmountable trust issue from that moment on, is astonishing.
I don't know.
Well, all you knew was the boxing, as you said.
Exactly.
You had to get me back in the ring. I'll be fine.
But now that you brought that up, now looking back in retrospect, I am astonished that I did not stop trusting people.
Yeah.
Fully, yeah.
But truly.
Yeah, because that part of I've said this before. What happened to me at that moment was a part of my life. I was not going to let it be my life.
Right.
My whole life.
You grew up in about 9 minutes, basically.
Yeah.
Truly. The fact that you were able to say, all right, well, that's never going to happen again, and it doesn't mean anything because I've got a job to do, is a boy to man in about 9 minutes. At 15, 16 years old, it's remarkable to me. I mean, it speaks volumes to you being able to share it, but it also it touched me in a very genuine way in terms of we hearkened back to the Jews at the top of the show. When you're 13, you know, the bar mitzvah, you become a man, and the whole thing was sort of farcical. As a child, I remember thinking, really, at 12 I wasn't a man, but at 13 I am now? What? This is absurd.
Right.
I'm not going to know manhood for a while, guys. And knowing nothing about, as much as I thought I knew at 10, 12 about my chosen profession, which I knew at that age, there was no platform, there was no Olympics for me to pursue in front of the world for a 15, 16-year-old. And to have this life experience all of a sudden pop up out of nowhere, and the sort of professionalism to, at that age, to just say, you know what, I'm going to get back in the ring now. That was weird and wrong.
It was weird and wrong, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
But I'm going to go ahead and get back in the ring. And I'm going to put this in a little box, and
It didn't deter me. It
Yeah.
didn't stop me.
it won't stop me.
It won't, yeah, it
At
won't stop
15,
me.
16, as opposed to
I made a decision.
everything has to stop now. These two fuckers need to go to jail
Right.
immediately. I'll get to my career when this is over with. For a 15, 16-year-old, that's
Yeah.
remarkable. I mean, it really is. It really is. And
When I put in that when I hear it in that perspective, yes, I mean it sends chills because
well, you're in it. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't look at it.
yeah.
But amazing kudos to you for sharing it in this book. Let's put the photo of the book up there again. Folks, rush out and get yourself a copy of this. It's a truly astonishing story, which should be a movie. There, I just said it. You know this guy, Anthony Mackie? This actor, Anthony Mackie? Did you see The Hurt Locker?
No, I haven't heard it. I've heard a lot of incredible things about it.
I think he's the kid to play it. Put it back up there. Let me see it. There you go. What are you 147 there?
145.
There! That, my friend,
There's a boxer answer for you.
is a boxer. Stig Walsh from the Facebook live question coming in from your audience is asking, what is your take on the MMA?
What's my take?
Yeah. What is your opinion of the MMA? Is there an art form going on?
There is an art form, yes. I mean, it's
I know it's technique. I know it's skill.
the skill, is technique.
I imagine it's the same sort of chess match with getting inside your opponent's head.
It's just a different
It seems slightly more animalistic.
animalistic. No, they used to say that about boxing.
Well, at one point,
Yeah, but no,
that might
it's
have made sense.
yeah, but listen, there's an audience for everything.
Well, I'm proof of that, sir. You need to point that out to me. I'm living evidence that there's an audience for anything. So that's it for you in terms of your opinion on the matter.
Yes,
There's an audience for everything.
there's an audience for everything.
Yeah. You've not been to a live.
Once.
Oh, that was the one.
Once there was one, maybe. Yeah, once.
That was the UFC thing you spoke of.
Not to anger people, but just so you are aware, UFC and MMA are two separate entities.
Very. Let's be clear.
People get up in arms about that.
Sam, you've been to some of these bouts, have you?
I've never been to one. I've seen a couple of UFC matches on TV, and they are fucking brutal.
No, I thought that MMA, mixed martial arts, is what they do in UFC.
Right.
It's
No,
not-
I'm not. No, that is correct. MMA is UFC, but there is also a separate thing.
MME.
Is that what it's
I
called?
think MME you're thinking of.
Maybe. I've made the mistake, and I've been yelled at,
Sam.
and clearly I've not learned.
Sam.
Dear God, Sam.
Yes.
That's not too clear.
Oh, WWE is what it says here.
WWE, mixed martial arts
Right.
is what they do,
in
UFC.
UFC and Ultimate Fighting. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
out.
tapped out. He's tapped out. The Jews tend to sell the concession. Let's be honest. We handle the concession and maybe ticket prices. Yeah, there's a sense of brutality, but you're right. The same thing has been said about boxing.
Yes.
Listen, or football, or a great many contact sports, if you will. I always found highlight to be the most brutal of them all. But the mixed martial arts, to me,
You're not a fan of it?
well, I'm missing the nuance and the finesse that I enjoyed so much of the art form of boxing. I don't know that we'll see a rope-a-dope in the MME.
I don't think so.
MMA. MME? I'm over here if you need me. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, I know there's a strategy involved. I know that there's getting inside your opponent's head, I'm sure. And then I just see two pit bulls kind of going at it.
The rope-a-dope only pertains to boxing.
Yeah.
That's the only way that, and only Ali could do it. No one else could do it.
Also, that he could do it and people watching it didn't actually know it was happening.
Right.
Let's not forget that. Let's put it in the moment of time that it was happening. Everyone thought,
He's getting pounded.
for a couple of rounds, I'm sure experts like yourself only had to see a couple of rounds before you started to see a strategy, because he kept doing it. There's only one reason to keep doing it, if you know how the game works. But for the rest of us, it was, what a bizarre way to end one's career.
Oh yeah, I thought he was just getting pounded.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there watching. Just
Had
oh
it
my
crossed
God.
anyone's mind prior that you could get George Foreman to punch himself out?
No, not George. I mean, it took a couple of rounds, and Ali withstood the power of George Foreman's. You ever see us? Have you ever met George Foreman?
Bigger than a house.
He's bigger than a house, 2 houses.
2 houses. Well, yes.
His hands are like mitts.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
For many years, we thought that he was not actually wearing gloves. That's how big his hands are. That's right.
Yes.
And we thought, well, this is not fair. Even Hulk wore gloves. All right, I can't thank you enough, honest to God, for spending a couple hours with us. By the way, can you believe it's 5:02? Are you okay
I'm
with
good.
that?
I'm good.
All right, your family was warned. This may take a couple hours. You heard at the top that couple that were texting the Larry King game back and forth. The thoughts of Larry King. You I'm sure had been on Larry's show.
Yes, yes.
We have a long-standing tradition at the end of the interview here on the show where I will ask the guests if they wouldn't mind offering up a version of the Larry King game, which is, having been on the show, you know how Larry will throw it to the phones after offering up one of his little tidbits. I don't know if you ever experienced this firsthand.
No.
No. All right, well, we'll leave it at that. In all sincerity, you've been a hero of mine and to a great many fans for a very, very long time, and it means the world to me that you've made a couple hours for us here, honestly.
Thanks, Kevin.
The book is available now. Get out there and get yourself a copy. There it is, The Big Fight. My Life in and Out of the Ring. And our guest today, Sugar Ray Leonard. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Real pleasure and an honor.
Thanks.
Now, sit there uncomfortably while I wrap things up for the folks at home, if you don't mind. I want to thank Dr. Chen here in the studio. Sam and Jamie, as always. Outside, we're missing our fearless leader, Mike Rotman, as well as the powerful J-Mac, who looks more and more like Ronnie every day.
He's ready to go in the ring,
Yeah.
J-Mac, by the way.
But I do want to thank Jim Ewing, who's joined the crew to help out, as well as Josh Negrin and Emily Goodwin, our regulars who are out there helping to launch this particular shuttle. But I have to wonder, for the last couple of hours, what the crew has been up to. Because I heard some laughter, I heard some things going on outside the hollowed walls of the studio that made me think something was afoot. If only there was some sort of video evidence that would tell us what they've been up to for the last 2 hours.
Oh, he looks like he's training for a fight, old-timey style.
That's very old.
Oh, he's gonna take over. All right. Tired out. Gonna break a wrist that way, really.
He checked his phone.
He was not paying.
Oh no!
You
If only you could get an opponent
Gotta keep
in
your
the
concentration
ring
in this
to
game.
check their phone.
Gotta keep your concentration.
There must be a way. How did Jim become RJ Mac the Wile E. Coyote? Is the other
At least he
question.
didn't explode.
I know. I wanted him to explode. I was like, well, he's got to explode.
Can't believe there was no explosion. Thomas Lennon will be here next Sunday. Very excited about that. And then Harry Shearer the Sunday after. Check your local listings. We've had some mix-up and changes in the schedule. So check to see how everything is shaking down, the guests that are upcoming. And go to the iTunes and enjoy yourself from the library. Yes?
I know it's a ways away,
Yes, darling.
but I'm very excited. We're going to have some of the cast of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia
Yes.
coming in October, and I'm really excited.
Oh, is that-
fans of Always Sunny
Is that happening?
in Philadelphia? We do have Glenn Howerton and possibly
He's threatened to bring others.
a couple of the other cast members from the Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
Interesting.
as well as James L. Brooks is now scheduled for September 25th. Ivan Reitman is either the weekend before or after. And
think
Patton,
after. Dana
Patton
Gould is
Oswald was back in my face, waving his fist last night, threatening. So stay tuned for that. All right. Then at that point, I would say thanks again one and all. And until next week, please check the local listings there. And if you want to have us answer in a very smart aleck way any of your questions, write again to contact@kevinpollexchatshow.com. Until then, and as always, get out of my face.